I'm Vegas Runner, here to break down UFC 132 with Dustin from the Pregame forums. Going to jump right into the card. This is the main event at UFC 132 live from MGM Grand here on 4th of July weekend. Dominick Cruz, Uriah Faber. Dominick Cruz minus 155 favorite. He is the bantamweight champ. This is a rematch. Who do you like?
You know I'm going to go against you, but I still like Uriah Faber in this fight, man. This is his natural weight. I've always felt this was his natural weight class. He only went up in weight just to get bigger money fights and a bigger exposure. But Uriah Faber's who I'm on right now.
There's definite value, and I think that he's going to get a lot of betting action. The California kid fighting in Vegas on 4th of July weekend is going to get money. A lot of guys I spoke to thought they'd see a shorter line on Cruz because of that. But I think the odds makers knew the sharp money would be betting on Dominick Cruz, only because since he's dropped down the bantamweight, the kid's been untouchable. Who he was when he fought Faber the first time in 2007, I just think he's a totally different fighter now at 17-1. I don't think he's cocky as much as he's confident. He really sold me in that, yes, this is a revenge match, but I'm just the better fighter right now, and Uriah hasn't changed where I have changed. Uriah has to catch him in a submission or ground and pound him and finish the fight. Where I think Cruz, on the other hand, he could win a decision like he's done time and time again. He's not a finisher, but he's just so elusive and so hard to touch that I think he'll just be able to dance around and stay away from Faber. And his striking has just evolved so much over the last few years. I think he's going to create a lot of problems.
But so is Faber's, though, you know. Faber hasn't been fighting bums either. You know, he's been fighting. He fought Aldo, yes, and now I still think Aldo's the best. So there's no real law, you know, shame in losing to Aldo, because I think Aldo beats pretty much everybody at 155 too. But Faber has underrated power. You know, Faber's striking is not bad. He does have a boxing coach. He has a grappling coach. He's got coaches for everything as well. So, and you got to remember too, the other thing here that Uriah has over Dominick, he's already beat him once.
He has, and he has one UFC fight under his belt. Where
Absolutely.
This is Cruz's debut in the UFC in the big show.
He's never been in a stadium this big.
No, he hasn't. I just think that Uriah Faber's takedown defense, he's 54% in takedown defense. That means you can take him down. I think Cruz may surprise people here, and he may go after the wrestler. And if he does that, he's going to create a lot of problems for Faber. Cruz is very hard to hit. He has an 80% strike defense, meaning he gets out of the way of 8 out of 10 punches. And his takedown defense is up over 80%. So he's a very hard guy to take down. I just think his work rate and his striking is going to be the difference maker. Personally, I'm making Uriah Faber. My prediction is Uriah Faber to lose, in this one. I like Dominick Cruz.
You going into decision?
Yeah. I don't think he's not a finisher.
No, you're right.
I think he's not a finisher. I'd be worried because obviously the UFC, they want the California kid. Who would, that's who they want. He's the poster child.
He sells tickets.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And that was my only concern. But the more and more I talk to guys, Cruz has so much respect from the MMA world, and he should have a big enough following where I don't think the judges are going to rob him, especially since he's going in with the title. If he wasn't the title holder, I would lean towards caution and probably pass, even though I think Cruz would win. But because he is the title holder and because Dana White demands so much of his judges, he has physically gone in and overturned a decision by the judges, more or less.
But money-wise.
Exactly. Yeah. But because of that, I think the pressure, he's going to say, this guy has the title, you have to take it from him.
But you have to imagine that there's more pressure on Cruz than there is Faber right now.
For sure.
So Cruz has more to lose than Faber does. You know, Faber's still going to sell. He'll still be in the win, lose, or draw. He's still going to be in the next event. He's still a main card fighter.
All
you
right.
know, so where's Cruz, man? And I like Dominick Cruz. He's a phenomenal fighter too, but I don't know. I just think, I don't know why I'm on the dog on this one, but I think Faber...
Getting plus money with Faber isn't the worst bet I've ever heard.
No, not at all.
I just am a believer of Cruz, and in the main event, that's what I'm going with. Okay. Let's work backwards. Co-main event, Vanderlei Silva, Leben. Silva, minus 175 favorite over Leben. Silva's been on the shelf now for 16, 18 months, hasn't fought because of injury. Who do you like? Why do you like him?
You know, we talked about this a bit at lunch. I still like Vanderlei. I know the reason being, Leben gets hit. Leben gets hit all the time.
He
man.
blocks punches
he gets
with his face.
With his face, yeah, that was a great comment you made. That's perfect. That's a perfect example. Silva has power. You know, that's the last thing to go from a fighter is his power.
Yeah.
And Leben gets hit.
He was a natural fighting at 205.
Right.
Now he's fighting
coming
185.
down.
So, and word is he's not having trouble making that 185. No. He didn't in the last fight with Bisping. So I don't think he's going to have trouble cutting weight. At least I've heard nothing bad about that.
No.
Personally, I don't have a premium play on this fight. I love Vanderlei Silva as a fighter. The only thing that scares me is, for some reason, this Leben kid, when he's in a brawl, he's at his best. And the more he gets hit, it seems like the more he fights back. And Vanderlei has the better competition, has the higher skill set, and I think is even the heavier puncher. Mm-hmm. But somehow, some way, Leben has gotten some wins that he shouldn't have over that 2-week period when he beat Aaron Simpson, you know.
Well, that's hard.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying, and I'm just afraid if it goes to deep waters, this kid's still alive. He's always going to have a chance. I like Vanderlei. I'm actually planning on going and doing an interview and doing coverage of their gym here in Las Vegas over the next 2 weeks. So I want to go in there hoping he wins and congratulate.
Absolutely.
But with that said, I'm not willing to lay the price, that kind of price, going up against a puncher like Leben, who blocks punches with his face and has no problem doing it. I'm going to pass. You like...
Me personally, I like Silva, but like you said, it's I don't think it's as much as a pick'em as you may think in my mind, you know, because...
Yeah, the odds makers agree with you.
Yeah,
that
because...
It's his fight to lose.
Absolutely, absolutely, because Leben, yet both guys have tremendous wear and tear on them, right? So... Leben's been more active. He's had more fights than Silva lately.
Exactly.
That's a good benefit, Leben, but the intangibles have to go to Silva.
And the thing that I didn't take the dog with this is because I've been seeing one thing with Leben, and it happens with all guys who could take a punch. As they age and as they take more punches, they're able to absorb less.
Right.
Meaning 5 years ago, you could have hit this guy with a brick. Today, you could only hit him with a mallet.
That's
you know
right,
what I mean?
exactly.
And that happens to all punchers.
It's a good analogy.
And that's the only reason I'm not willing to back Leben either. I just hope we see fireworks.
Yeah, I think we will.
Let's go to the next fight. This one's going to take about 20 seconds to cover. I think we both agree. Ryan Bader, Tito Ortiz. Bader's a -500 favorite.
I
don't think there's any value at -500,
No.
but then again, I don't really see value in Tito Ortiz. What I will say is this: Tito Ortiz finishes fights,
yes,
meaning even when he loses by decision. You know, he's a hard guy to take out.
Absolutely.
And if I'm going to lay -500, I want my guy to go in there and finish the fight. And that's why I can't, urge bettors to go take Ryan Bader, even though I think he wins this fight. I think Tito is still standing after 3 rounds. And if I have to depend on the judges, I'm not going to lay 500.
No. I mean, you got to figure, too, Bader's last fight was his loss to John Jones, which there's no shame in that. But
who hasn't lost to Jones?
Tito, you got to think about this. Think about it, too, on this end. I still agree with Bader, being the winning this because Bader's younger, stronger, everything.
Yeah. And the styles are similar, so he's not going to be outclassed.
Tito has that. Tito is fighting for respect. He's fighting for a job.
For his job,
right? So there's maybe there's more questions about this fight, being towards Tito than Bader, but I still think Bader wins it.
And the one thing, a lot of times they say when fighters get their first loss, like Bader did, there's a release of pressure.
Right.
But in the UFC, you have to come back and win, or
Absolutely.
you get cut.
Or you get cut.
So there's still some pressure there. So we were both going to pass on this one.
Yeah.
We think Bader's going to win, but obviously at -500, I see no value. So I'm probably going to be cheering in Tito, to be honest with you.
Why
I
not?
don't mind seeing
Why
him
not?
win.
See the old dog.
Let's drop down to Dong Young Kim and Carlos Condit. Kim -120 at the Greek.
Yeah.
But Condit -120 at Bodog.
Yeah.
They're two very different lines, meaning a public book, which is expected to get public money like Bodog, has Carlos Condit as the favorite. A sharp book like the Greek, which is prone to take Wiseguy action,
right,
they have Kim as the favorite. So the wise guys, it seems, think Kim should be the favorite, but Bodog is protecting himself from public money because Condit, ex-WEC champ,
Yep,
that's the name people know. Not too many people that aren't in the MMA game and big fans know Dong Young Kim. Who do you like and why?
I'm going to go with Bodog on this one. I think that I really think that Sonnen does it. I'm sorry, not Sean.
I always
Condit.
I do
too. But Condit is a good fighter. He's been on a win streak. His fights are entertaining. People like to watch him. You're going to get blood in a Condit fight for the most part. Usually it's Condit's, but he wins. He finds ways to win. I like Condit, even though I've seen a few of Kim's fights. He's not a bad fighter. I think this is a build-up for a Condit trying to. He's been talking a lot about he wants a title shot. He's been politicking for that. So I think this is kind of a build-up for Condit to get his title shot. But I like Condit by decision in this.
I've even heard him mentioned in the GSP sweepstakes.
Absolutely, yeah.
With that said, I don't think this is a good style fight for him. Truth is, Dong Young Kim's a judo expert. He's a fourth-degree judo black belt. That means he's going to take you down. He's going to toss you around. But when you look at Condit, his one weakness is takedown defense.
But he's great on the ground. He has jiu-jitsu.
True. Exactly. But I don't think from bottom he'll be as dangerous with a guy like Dong Young Kim, who's extremely powerful. I think he's a strong guy. That he's just
base.
Not known, and he's got a lot of strength. He's got a quick pace, like you said. His takedown defense is second to none. So I don't think Condit's going to be able to take him down. Bottom line, Dong Young Kim's 14-0-1 for a reason. I really think there's some value there, especially if you could get him as a dog at even money. I'm going to have to go with Kim here. We're disagreeing.
Yeah,
nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that.
Right.
He likes Condit. I'm stepping up with a premium play on Kim at even money if you can get him. Drop down Dennis Siver, Matt Wiman. Dennis Siver, -130. Matt Wiman, +110. Great fight.
Yes.
Who do you like?
Siver's been on a hot streak, man. I have to go with Siver on this one. I know I seem to pick a lot of favorites, lately, but
-110s, -120s.
Yeah, it's kind of a pick 'em.
Favorites.
It's kind of a pick 'em, But I think Siver definitely. He's got all the tools. He's becoming every fight. He's been getting more and more complete. He's been showing more of a range of skills, so I like Siver in this one.
Talking of favorites, I think the odds makers with MMA are getting sharper.
Yeah.
And we spoke of this before. When it comes to fights, recreational bettors tend to bet the dogs. Odds makers are starting to catch on to this, unlike they're used to when it comes to football and basketball, where the public bets the favorites. And because of that, they're starting to shade the lines, and there's art value on the favorites. I agree with you in this fight. I think Dennis Siver, since getting his second chance in the UFC, has become a monster. Yeah. At first, he was just a kickboxer.
Right.
One of those Russian kids that...
Mirko Krokop.
Exactly. Yeah. Who, if it's in a kickboxing match, this kid's going to kill you.
Right.
But if you're a strong wrestler or have ground skills, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, the kid could be in danger. I think he's been able to implement wrestling into his kickboxing. He's as strong as they come. This kid came into the UFC as a welterweight, and now he's fighting at 155. So he's as strong as they come, huge upper body. I like Dennis Siver in this one. I really think Matt Wiman, being from the scrap pack, he's going to get a lot of love from the California crew out here, and I think that's why we're getting value in such a low line on Siver.
Unknown, though.
Yeah, true. I think Siver should be a higher favorite. I think he should be around 150, 160. I'm going to step out and give another premium play on Dennis Siver in this one. Now our final fight, Melvin Guillard, Shane Roller. Melvin Guillard, since going with Greg Jackson in Albuquerque, New Mexico, has become a new fighter. The kid survived Hurricane Katrina, was on the bridge for 3 days, and survived it. Exactly.
Yeah.
He's 28 years old and has 58 pro fights, so he's been fighting his entire life.
He's amazing.
One weakness, he gets caught in submissions.
Yes,
when you look at his losses, they've all come by submission. He has the most athletic talent probably in all of the UFC. When you look at him, he's a perfect physical specimen, but he used to get caught in submissions. Since going to Greg Jackson, it seems like that's changed. Odds makers think it's changed. He's a high -250, 270, even maybe higher favorite. Do you think there's value in Melvin?
Yeah, I mean, there's any value when there's a winner, So in this case, yeah, I like Melvin Guillard. He's been getting better, like you said, each fight. Greg Jackson's going to help him with not getting submitted all the time like he has, and I think we've actually seen that in his last couple of fights. He's been He's been able to stay away from those danger spots, or at least avoid them and then get out. But yeah, I like Melvin
Shane
a
Roller's
lot.
done well. I mean,
for sure.
He earned his way into this fight. He trains with Johnny Hendricks. His only fault of late has been the Anthony Pettis. Everyone was losing to Anthony Pettis when he was winning. Exactly. So I mean, there's no knock in Shane Roller, but I think styles make fights.
Right.
And in this fight, I think the stand-up of Melvin Guillard is just going to be way too much for him.
I agree.
And number two, don't be surprised if Melvin takes him down. When you look at Shane Roller, although he's a wrestler, his takedown defense is terrible. He's 36% in takedown defense. You could take this guy down. And when you take a wrestler and you put him on his back, they're like a fish out of water.
Yes, sir.
Now, obviously, Melvin don't want to get caught if he does that. But I think with Greg Jackson in his corner, I think he's been taught how to get on top and stay out of trouble. And I think that was his weakness before, because usually top-level guys shouldn't get, submitted from top control.
Look at GSP.
Exactly.
What's the last time he got submitted?
Exactly.
Yeah.
But Melvin Guillard had that weakness. Don't forget, this kid was a Louisiana State wrestling champion.
That's right.
So he's got great takedowns. And we haven't seen his wrestling. I think we see that here. And that's going to set up his great technical striking. I predict a knockout in this one. I'm going to step up and say there's value on Guillard even as a high favorite. And that's a bet I'm definitely stepping up and making. Backpedal, 4 premium plays for myself. Dominick Cruz, Dong Young Kim, Dennis Siver, Melvin Guillard. We both agree on Bader. We both agree on Siver. You like Faber. You like Carlos Condit.
I do, yeah.
But we both like Guillard.
Yeah.
Should be an interesting night. We're going to end up watching this fight together,
should.
right?
I will, yeah. I'm going to try to, I'm going to come over.
All right, so I'm Vegas Runner signing out. That was UFC 132. Don't forget, we did some boxing heavyweight matchup. Hay versus Klitschko live from Germany. Enjoy the fights. We're done.